Frankel in majestic form by 8 or 9 in the Queen Anne.
So you think a world star won the Prince of Wales's?
Black Caviar needs the line, he's easing up on her, and he's just scraped in!
King Barnes wins the Racing Post Trophy.
"2012 was a year of box office stars in racing, from the incredible Big Bucks and Sprinter Sacra over jumps to Supermare's Snow Fairy and Daydream on the flat. There were none bigger though than Frankel.
Frankel extends, Sinister Ziegler is a worthy adversary, but up towards the line, all comers, all grounds, all beaten. Frankel won the Champion Stakes and lives up to the title.
It was a gift, not just from Khalid Abdullah, but from the gods. Because for 2012, of all the years, the year of the Olympics, the year the focus on Britain, the year of the Queen's Jubilee, every sport wanted to show itself off as best it could. And in that wonderful high summer, racing had the most exciting horse in memory, the best horse over its distance they've ever had out there, and not just performing so you could have all the excitement he's going to perform, but performing better and better. And most famously of all, at Royal Ascot, the very first race of the Queen's own race meeting in her Jubilee year. It was definitely a gift from heaven.
And it's all the ones for Frankel. It's going to be 11 from 11 here. The champion of the world, Frankel in majestic form by 8 or 9 in the Queen Anne.
One horse for whom there would be no glorious end to the campaign was Camelot. In a year that promised so much, the brilliant Racing Post Trophy winner of 2011 bagged 3 classics. But the season ended in disappointment with defeats in the St Leger and Arc, followed by a bout of colic.
Camelot's season was a bit of a curate's egg. He started fantastically. I think the Guineas was a definite highlight because the question was, did he have the speed to win that race? The Derby was a tour de force. But I guess things probably swung a little bit in Ireland when he ran on that very heavy ground. It seemed to take a lot out of him. And from then on, really, we didn't see, in my opinion, the same horse that we did in the first part of the summer.
And Camelot and Joseph O'Brien is going to stay on to win the Derby for in second place, Born to See.
Well, we have to say that the field for the 2000 Guineas this year was not of vintage proportions. The French horse that was runner-up, French 15, he ran once or twice more, he then got injured. I mean, generally speaking, there have been far better races. But I think the key to Camelot's class, the question of his class, he answered because pretty much at halfway he was in last place. And Joseph O'Brien said he was going to ride him like that, and if the horse then felt that he had plenty more to give, then Joseph O'Brien was going to bring him forward, and that's what he did. Camelot in the Derby was the race which the horse really was probably laid out to win. He would have had a very thorough preparation, and I think we saw the benefit of that at Epsom. 1 or 2 moments of anxiety as the colt came around the corner there, Cheltenham corner. He hesitated a little bit before he found his best stride, but once he picked up his rhythm and got his balance together again, I mean, he came charging down the straight, and from looking as if he might struggle on the entrance to the freight, he was actually in front just before the 2 furlong pole. So a fine turn of foot and a 5-length winning margin brooks no argument. The Leger bid was a little bit of a surprise in the sense that the horse wasn't really bred to go that trip. Having said that, John Magner spoke about it after the Derby, having won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown with a horse That's by Monsieur. The stamina doubt comes on the female side. But having won the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown, they've lived a long time. They've had lots of great race horses. And so in the end, I think the Ledger bid was the Lior for the Triple Crown, and something that they desperately hoped he'd pull off, because it would have put them into the history books. And seeing as they've won pretty much every other race, that was quite something for them. I'm probably in a minority because I believe the horse didn't get the trip. Now, I know he was running on at the finish, but if you think back to the Guineas and the Derby, basically when Joseph O'Brien wanted him to quicken, he did so pretty much in a heartbeat. Now, in the Ledger, when Enker went on at the 2 furlong pole, that's when he won the race, because from being a length behind him, Camelot ended up 3 lengths behind him in the space of the next 100 yards. And although when he looked as if he was closing, he was. I think Enker was probably wilting a little bit, but that's a sign of the horse's class. And I think Aidan O'Brien pretty much answered the question himself, actually, about the Ledger run, when he said that he's looking forward in 2013 to running the horse over distances of around 10 furlongs, which I think will suit him perfectly.
Enki leads by 2 legs, has got a bump on Camelot in second, who's chasing Enki, but Enki's got first run and is going to deprive Camelot of the Triple Crown. Enki for Mikel Barcelona.
It's quite remarkable to think that the shortest price favourite for any British Classic that Aidan O'Brien sent out last year was the one that got beaten, Camelot in the St Ledger. He'd won 4 of the 4 Classics run to that point. I mean, the feeling was that Camelot was almost like a formality, but as I mentioned earlier, the stamina was always going to be an issue, and I think people took their eye off the ball in the excitement of the Triple Crown. But any season where a trainer wins 4 of the 5 Classics has to go down as an outstanding one. And don't forget also there was the likes of Celebration, who came and won the QE2 Stakes at Ascot in October there, in the sign of a really, really top miler.
Winning the championship meant a huge amount to Richard Hughes, if only because he's been trying to do it for so long. He's by no means in the first flush of his career, 39 this season, and it was something he'd been trying to do for some time. In the end, though, it was achieved easily, and in a sense that probably means it meant more than it would have done otherwise. No money comes with being champion jockey, merely a trophy and a title, and the honour that brings with it, and that honour is something that Hughes will carry for the rest of his career. In a sense, the championship is always a target for Richard Hughes at the start of every year, but even more so given his near misses in the previous 2 campaigns. However, his chances seemed anyway to be badly compromised by a 50-day suspension handed to him in Mumbai at the start of the spring. However, Hughes fought back from that, and having begun his campaign late in May, he gathered plenty of momentum through the summer, so much so that going into September, he decided that with a busy month and a successful month, he could have it won with a few weeks still to go, and he was proved right.
It's going to be a magnificent 7 for Richard Hughes. Mamaquilla, fantastic stuff. Mamaquilla wins the last.
That Windsor Monday afternoon 7-timer has to rank among his greatest achievements, and also the greatest achievements of any British-based jockey. He went to Windsor having a good book of rides, but not a book of rides that looked like a series of penalty kicks by any means. But however, momentum rolled through the afternoon. 1 winner became 2, became 3, became 4, and eventually it became 7. It was a feat rivalled only by Frankel at Ascot all those years ago, and it was one that left Hughes with a very big smile on his face at his local track, and a track he dominates on Monday nights throughout the summer.
for many of us, the highlight of the racing year is the Cheltenham Festival. And I look back on 2012's meeting for 5 moments that deserve to be remembered. For sheer madcap merriment, nothing beat the story last season of Hunt Ball and his pleasingly lunatic owner, Anthony Knott, the Dorset farmer who went into orbit alongside his horse, who improved stone after stone throughout the season and defied top weight in wonderful style at the festival. It's impossible to look at the finish of the Albert Bartlett without a sense of disbelief. Both the principals, Brindisi Breeze and Campbell Gillis, are no longer with us. Brindisi Breeze was killed in a freak accident soon afterwards, and Campbell Gillis died on the eve of his 22nd birthday, a popular and youthful force who never made full maturity. They deserve not to be forgotten. Call me stupid if you like, but it took me years to appreciate how great a jockey Barry Geraghty is. And on Riverside Theatre, in the greatest Ryanair ever run, he produced a fabulous ride. He was never, ever, ever going to win it until around the final fence. The Gold Cup was dramatic early on, with Corto Star being pulled up by Ruby Walsh, and I'll never forget that shot of Ruby and the great horse walking away through the crowd as the race came to the boil. And what a race. Synchronised made endless mistakes. AP McCoy never gave up for a moment. It looked as if David Bridgewater's terrific young horse, the Giant Bolster, would win going to the last, but it was McCoy and Synchronised who prevailed. 2 tough customers up that hill. For me, the class act of Cheltenham 2012 was Sir Deschamps, now unbeaten over fences. He travelled beautifully, he jumped superbly, he won the Juice in over 2.5 miles like a horse who will take 3 miles plus in his stride. To me, he looks the Gold Cup winner in waiting.
Sir Deschamps was one of 3 Cheltenham Festival winners for trainer Willie Mullins, who again enjoyed a spectacular season. The 6th trainer's title in Ireland was secured thanks to the likes of Hurricane Fly, Cuvega and Champagne Fever, who helped him to 13 Grade 1 wins. The season wasn't all about the County Carlow trainer though. There were others who more than held their own at the top table and look set for an exciting 2013.
Sizing Europe continues to just astound everyone. He's the model of consistency. He barely finishes out at the first 2 ever in any race. He's barely raced out of grade 2 level his entire career. And again, even with all the issues and being an interrupted run up the straight with the bypass fence, he still finished 2nd to a much younger rival in the champion chase. He then went on and picked up the pieces at Punchestown. This was after finishing 2nd in the 3-mile JNWine.com champion chase, and also winning the Tingle Creek, which was a blinding performance. And his continued consistency isn't just fantastic for himself and Alan Potts, his owners, and Henry de Bromhead. It also helped Andrew Lynch to break through, and last season for him, I think, created him as a star. Fleming Star, I guess, is the other big chaser role. It's funny, isn't it? You wait years and years for a decent Irish staying chaser, and then you have 2 come along at once, Sir Deschamps and Fleming Star. Fleming Star for me looks more a complete package than Sir Deschamps. He's proven a lot more than him, in my opinion. Just the way that he picks them up so quickly, it's quite incredible. The way he wings fences all the way around, and then in a matter of strides, away he comes round from in behind the leaders, and it's gone. That's it. Nothing can catch him then.
And as they race uphill towards the finish, it's the man in form, Andrew Lynch. Treble yesterday will drive home Fleming Star to win for Peter Casey by about 3 lengths.
One of the most exciting prospects for 2013, and in fact beyond, is Gigginstown House Studs, Don Cossack. Trained by Gordon Elliott, he's an absolute giant. Perhaps you'd consider him a war horse. He looks that, he has that much presence and size about him. He's a monster, and Gordon Elliott thinks the world of him. Davy Russell, Gigginstown's rider, also thinks the world of him and is in there pretty much every morning he works. We only saw him in bumpers last year, but he impressed and he excited, and we're looking forward to seeing him over hurdles this year.